NBC News correspondent Kathy Park is at a detention center in Georgia where those workers are being held. Kathy, help us understand. The plane is here in the U.S., but not taking off, apparently. Do we know what the holdup is?
Yeah, Kate, good afternoon to you. So, safe to say the logistics are in limbo right now. So, originally, the plan was to have hundreds of Korean detainees who are being held currently at this ICE detention facility behind me. They were supposed to be moved sometime overnight, 4.5 hours away to Hartsfield-Jackson International Airport, where a Korean air flight was waiting for them. And the original plan was to have them board the flight and leave right about now. However, overnight, we got a note from the South Korean ministry saying that there have been some difficulties on the U.S. side, so those plans have shifted, and now there is a delay. We should also note that Secretary of State Marco Rubio did meet with Korea early morning. They released a statement. The White House official did, saying that they discussed a forward-looking agenda with mention on investments in shipbuilding and other sectors, but there was no mention of what is happening here on the ground in Georgia. And meanwhile, Kate, it's also worth noting that we spoke to an immigration attorney over the last couple of days. He is representing 7 South Korean nationals who are currently being detained, and he says that the detention facility is so overwhelmed right now that he actually has not been able to communicate with his clients, and the earliest he can do so will be on September 17th, Kate.
And Kathy, the U.S. and Korea obviously have been close allies for decades, so what sort of impact has this raid had on the relationship?
Yeah, so based on the reporting that we are seeing in South Korea, what we're seeing and hearing, the relationship has been fractured over the last couple of days, and it really boils down to the optics of seeing these South Korean nationals being shackled and paraded for the world to see as hardened criminals. The sentiment coming from South Koreans. Meanwhile, the U.S. is maintaining that these workers were here illegally. But we should also note that in Elabel, Georgia, where the Hyundai facility is located, where the raid took place last week, there was a local pastor who we spoke with, and he said that on the ground there is a lot of fear. Some people are traumatized because they witnessed the raid firsthand. And right now, a lot of the Koreans in that community are keeping a low profile because of what's happened. There are a lot of immigrants in that community, and they're also fearful of what could happen to them, and they could potentially see their own fate even if they came to this country illegally. So those are some of the challenges that those folks are feeling across Georgia currently.
Okay, Kathy Park for us. Kathy, thank you. Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. has unveiled another installment of his Make America Healthy Again agenda. It's a report, a follow-up to his initial assessment, which was released back in May. This one focused on the health of children, which Kennedy calls, quote, the sickest generation in American history. NBC News health and medical reporter Berkeley Lovelace Jr. joins us now. Berkeley, so this is the second MAHA report by HHS. Walk us through what's in this one, and does it include any specific actions?
Yeah, hey Kate. So this is a pretty big report. There are about 128 recommendations in it, but I think it can be boiled down into a few key areas that we can show you here. So it includes investing in more research, policy reform around vaccines, working with private companies, and public awareness about potential health risks to children. Now, health policy experts are pointing out that this report lacks specifics and also doesn't have a clear strategy in terms of regulatory action. And also in many cases, it also repeats a lot of actions the administration has already taken. So, for example, the report mentions pursuing a formal definition for ultra-processed foods, which the administration has already announced. It also talks about identifying a root cause of autism, which, again, the administration has announced already. And so in terms of how this new report pushes forward the administration's agenda is pretty unclear right now.
Yeah, and the autism piece, they've announced that they're going to do a report, which we're expecting soon, right, Berkeley? So the report also leaves out some major issues that impact children. What is not in there, and what have health experts said about it?
Yeah, that's right. So notably, it doesn't mention gun violence or food insecurity, which are two major threats to children. Kennedy was actually asked about that as well, and he called it, quote, a complex question. And so health policy folks have been pointing out that this strategy right now lacks specifics for how to move forward in that. There's, of course, concerns about vaccines. Kennedy mentions that a lot in this report about in terms of reviewing vaccines for kids as well, and also reforming reporting for vaccine injuries. And so there's some concerns that these moves could limit the vaccines that people want, Kate.
Berkeley Lovelace.